Hiya,
Hiya, we're back again.
we are indeed. With another riveting sort of video. This one we're going to talk about the past.
Just want to thank you for just affirming me before we started.
Not a problem. I think it's important. I think it's really
You
important.
can see why I've gone so far in my life.
Yes. I wasn't necessarily referring to her, but if she wants to take the harp, then that's up to her. Okay.
Hello again, sorry. This is just us being us.
Yes. Okay, so we're going to talk about the past and the future. You tend to spend more time in the past than I do in the counselling room.
Yes.
You want to elaborate on that and why?
Okay, question. Does the past affect the present? I
Yes.
think it's
Sorry, I said the past affect the future. Yes, it's the present.
Yes. Well, absolutely, and I think that I've been counselling for 35 years.
Yeah.
And I suppose the best analogy of that is just a plant. You know, if you're going to put a plant or a seed in the ground, there is an optimal place where you can put it, where, good soil, sunny, you take care of it, you water it and everything. And if you put it in its optimal place, then it will grow healthy, as a plant.
Yeah.
If you don't, then the roots won't go down properly, and the plant itself just may end up withering and dying and just not becoming the plant it should be, if you like.
Okay.
And that is true of human beings. The soil, and really I think the good soil is the soil of acceptance and love.
Yeah.
If you just are born into a family and you have good soil, and then that nurture is continued, then we grow healthy and strong.
Yes.
Yeah. The problem is that generally, I have to say most of the people I've worked with, when you have kids, generally, not always, but generally, people love their kids and they do their best to bring their kids up well. The trouble is we live in a kind of a broken world with all sorts of things that come against us. And so you put then in a stable environment, the deep impact, for example, this is happening more and more in the world of poverty, of sickness, of relational stress and pressure. And so all of these things then begin to impact the growth of the child. Okay, you can probably put it into two little headings, if you like, and that's deprivation and abuse. Deprivation is not having what you should have.
Yeah.
All right, and abuse is having what you shouldn't. So to go back to the plant analogy, deprivation is not giving it enough water.
Yeah.
Abuse is a weed just coming around that plant and stopping it from growing and choking its growth. And so as counsellors, we kind of pour in with this deprivation and kind of bring care, bring love, teach a client to love themselves and do kind of good things and build themselves up.
Okay.
And then in abuse, we kind of break off and begin to take away the control and the trauma and all of the things that have choked the life of the person.
Yeah.
That's my counselling. Welcome to my life.
Yeah, I think, pardon the expression, you spend a lot more time in the past than I do. I mean, you often say that, I'm a behaviorist, whereas you're more of a developmental counsellor. And I think there is some truth in that, but I don't think that's my approach. I think that's what I have to deal with.
Yeah.
Well, because, the thing is, yes, I'm not unaware of the past affecting the present. I mean, that's, it's sort of psychology 101, that. Yeah. But the thing is...
This is John's counselling we're talking about.
The thing is, when it comes to a drinker, they want to sort out the past before they sort out the present. And that can't happen, because if they're still intoxicated, then they can't do the processing that's required to sort out the past.
Absolutely.
And therefore we have to take the alcohol away somehow, and therefore we have to do that in the present.
Yeah.
And that's when I become more behaviorist.
Yeah, absolutely.
And developmental.
And then often a few times you'll pass them back to me, and then we kind
sometimes
of
that happens, or sometimes I deal with it myself, and it, depending on what it is. I mean, you're much more adept with abuse, I think it's difficult. I think particularly about deprivation, because I think standards change over decades. And that there's an entitlement now for people who have a kind of relative deprivation, because they didn't get the trainers that they should have got when they were a kid, So you're having to deal with something which is real deprivation sometimes, and
perceived
deprivation.
Yes, I mean, I think this generation have not kind of known, like for example, my mum and dad, they kind of were brought up through the war, and so they had terrible trauma. So they didn't spot, I think, the generation after the war, what we would spot now, because compared with the context of their lives, the little things of things maybe going wrong, or uncle being a little bit too over familiar, with Jenny.
Yes.
It's like they've been cauterized, that their sensitivity has been cauterized.
Yeah, I mean, standards have changed so much.
Yeah.
And I mean, I look at, and I'm not judging, I'm just saying how it's changed, and I look at sort of young couples and how they're bringing up their kids today, and I think about how I was brought up, and I think, I would never get away with any of that.
No.
Was that a good thing or a bad thing? I don't know.
Time will tell, won't it?
Yeah.
Just want to say,
just different issues.
Yeah, if you're living with a drinker, you are going to have these two things happen. Now, this is me again talking to the family member rather than the drinker.
Yeah.
You are going to know deprivation. You're not going to get the security and the trust and the nurture, if you live with a drinker, that you deserve.
Yeah.
And you are going to get the abuse of the lies and maybe the anger and all the other stuff that goes with it.
And sometimes more aggressive verbal abuse, and I mean, maybe even physical abuse.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you know that you have deprivation and abuse in your past, you maybe to go for a counsellor, even to start off with, for you to just look at those things and come to terms with what you've been through, so you have more resilience to cope with what you're going through. Because if all of your pain from the past is feeding into all the pain with your present, then you've got a double whammy out there to deal with. And so again, this is all about caring for yourself. Even if you can't afford counselling, it's not available, there's some brilliant books out there that you can read that take you through steps, so you can kind of become aware and do some of that yourself. But tend to your own needs. Tend to your needs if there's been pain in the past. Tend to your needs, absolutely, if there's pain in the future.
Yeah.
And pain in the present. And then you protect your future.
Yeah. I mean, if you are living with a drinker, then definitely tend to your needs.
Yeah.
The one thing that we keep saying, in fact, I was counselling somebody the other day, and I said, I know I'm beginning to sound like a broken record because I've said it about 10 times during this talk, but look after yourself. Be good to yourself, and I think that's so important.
Yes,
so important.
We've tripped these words off our tongues, deprivation and abuse. If you're going through it, it really matters that you're hurting. We don't want to say it lightly. The emptiness I felt when I lived with a drinker, the abusiveness of my life sometimes. These are very real and horrible things. And it's the reason we set up this website. It's the reason we're talking to you now. Yeah. We don't want you to go through the horror of this alone. Keep coming, keep listening. We'll keep turning up every week. Even when we're on holiday, we try and set them up. We want to input, and you see, it's not script. We are real people that have been through the real issue, the real deal, and we're just turning up in our kitchen, building bridges for you and sharing stuff that we hope will really
change your life. There's an old saying that there's no gain without pain, but it doesn't always have to be your pain.
No,
you can learn from ours.
Yeah.
You learn from our pain.
We had a lovely email this morning too, didn't we? From
we did,
that say that they've been really, really helped. So we're we're so touched when these emails come in. We're
Yeah.
so thankful.
Yeah.
So thank you for listening. We're going to carry on with a few more things. There's a couple now coming about, but we're going to pick up about the past impacting the present, and we hope you find them really informative and helpful. Thank you for listening. Bye.
Bye.